Okay, there we go. Hey guys, I'm Trixie, aka the Thoughtful Beast. Today I am here with Aisha, who I've danced with and who's a wonderful dancer and choreographer. She has come to talk about her dance life during this COVID BLM time, this quarantine time. Before we get to that, Aisha, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Aisha Reddick. I'm 24. Currently, I'm living in Long Beach. I'm from San Diego, though, and I'm going to be moving down to San Diego soon because, quarantine, and I just don't want to pay rent anymore just to sit inside. Anyway, I attend Long Beach State University. Been dancing since I was 5. Yeah.
Yay! Sorry, I was like missing the button and I was like, no, I'm not clicking it. I'm not clicking it. I'm here, Aisha. I'm here. So yeah, so Aisha, the first time I met you, it was for young choreographers. It's I think you named it Contra.
Yes, it was in 2016. Yeah.
That is the first time, like, I remember seeing the piece and I thought it was beautiful. It was one of my favorite pieces, and I don't like a lot of things. It was one of my pieces. It was really good. Obviously, your dancers performed phenomenally in it, and I remember seeing it, and I was just like, "Oh, I need to find the choreographer," because like that was awesome. Like I really liked it. So I remember like I felt super awkward because I'm like, she doesn't fucking know me. This is gonna be weird. And I was like, hi, I like your piece. I don't know if you remember, but I was just like, oh my god, I really like your piece. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful duet. And so when I think of you, Aisha, like I think of you like I was just like Aisha the artist. And that's how I think of you. And I would definitely like for people to get to hear a little bit about your artistry. Well, I guess a lot of bit about your artistry because we're talking about your dance life. But yes, let's delve a little bit into your dance history. How long have you been dancing?
Well, I've been dancing since I was 5, so almost 20 years.
Dang, girl.
I started when I was 5. I started with ballet and Polynesian dance, and I'm pretty sure I did like Polynesian for like maybe 10 years. I like didn't stop until I was in high school.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I was doing like I was a studio kid, so I was like doing jazz, ballet, contempt, ballroom, anything. Literally, my mom put me in dance because I was like too hyper, and she was like, "Go." And I feel like a lot of dancers start like that too. They're just like, "Go away, like please just lose your energy for a moment."
Over there, yeah. Run around over there, not next to you. It makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. See, this is fun too because I get to learn more about you. And then when did you start choreographing?
I guess my senior year of high school. So I went to SCPA, and for seniors, you do a senior exhibition where you choreograph a piece, and you get to have your own concert. That was I think the very first time I choreographed a whole piece, and that piece actually closed the show.
Oh.
So I know. But Hannah was in that piece. And the other girls who were in that piece, oh no. One of them is still a dancer as well, but the others unfortunately don't dance anymore. But yeah, I mean, me and Hannah became so close after that piece. And it was like the start of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
And after that, yeah. After high school, I went to Grossmont Community College, and I kept choreographing. They had like a student show in like a fall semester. So every fall semester I would choreograph something, and I did like 6 pieces, I think. And then we also had a touring company in the spring that I was asked to choreograph for too, which was really fun. I also did art walk with Hannah and Stephanie Vasquez. I also did art walk with the touring company too. And then I've also choreographed for Helix High School a couple times. Oh no, just one time. Oh no, wait. Yeah, just one time. But yeah.
And what do you like about choreography?
Well, for me, I mean, being a dancer, I like love dancing and shit. But oh, sorry, can we curse?
I have already been cursing.
Oh,
You can curse if you want.
sorry. Okay. Well, yeah. So I like love dancing, but I feel like choreography is my way to I mean, express myself emotionally, artistically, but also it like is what I'm most comfortable doing is creating. Like that feels the most natural to me to like just make something. I've always been very artistic, like growing up. And then once I started choreographing, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because Tiffany left an angry face. On like it says she's mad at our chat, and I'm pretty sure it's an accident, but it's funny. I'm sorry, I got super distracted. I was like, "Who is that?" It's Tiffany. Anyways, that's awesome. And so, like, so you in college then? Is there like a difference between a dance major and a choreography? Like, what is the setup over there?
You know, to be honest, I don't really know either. I know. Well, okay. Because this spring was my first semester at Long Beach. This last spring. And then COVID happened, and then I was like at home. So I was like, I don't even think I go to school anymore. Like I went like half of the semester, and then they were like, bye, quarantine yourself. So I didn't really, I mean, obviously I know like the outline of the program and stuff, but I didn't really get to explore much more into it. I didn't get to ask all the questions I needed to.
That sucks.
Yeah. But I also got into the BFA program at Long Beach. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll see how that goes because like the fall semester is also virtual. So yeah.
It's true. That's going to be really interesting. Can you explain to people what like a dance BFA is, just in case there are non-dancers watching?
Yeah, I'll try. So I know that the BFA is just like a little more, as opposed to like a regular BA in dance, a BFA is a little more focused and a smaller group of people a part of the program. You're given the opportunities to like create a concert with some others. Obviously, you get to choreograph, be a part of guest choreographer pieces. You get to do mock auditions. I don't even know if that's happening either. I don't know.
No, that's hard.
Yeah. And they like, yeah, I don't know, but they like, the professors set up the program so that like once you finish, you're pretty much prepared to go out and do what you need to. Like they help you with resumes, video, what is it called? Video reels and all that. Teach you how to do that kind of stuff. Teach you how to write grants, all that good.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yes. I mean, that's what I heard was the difference with a BFA because I didn't get any of that. Like teaching you. Well, basically, I mean, I didn't go to a real dance school, so that's also like my bad. I mean, I didn't know I wanted to dance, so that hit me later.
Yeah.
But with BFAs, they're supposed to help you basically be ready and to go into the dance world and like work. So you get more of like the financial aspects of it, and more of like the marketing aspects, which is great. And I'm so glad you got into that. What is your intention? Like, is your intention to be a dancer or a choreographer or both C's?
Both C's. Okay, I really want to, my projective life outcome at the moment is like, the end goal is to be a choreographer, maybe have my own company, get things rolling like that. But I also do want to be a teacher. I want to be a professor. I want to be able to share dance with people. I just love, bringing people together with dance, and then also being able to choreograph. And I ideally would want to be like a university professor. That's a lot of work, but I think I'm willing to do all that work because like I just want to be able to impart what I've learned to the next upcoming dancers.
Yeah, most definitely. And a lot of the work too, to get to those positions, like getting your masters and stuff, but also like you're going to do what you want anyways, which is to create more art. Like that's part of like your resume. So it's like, it adds up if you want to do that. That's awesome. I didn't know you wanted to be professional, Aisha. I like that.
I was just thinking, I don't think I ever shared that with you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's great and that's wonderful. And I'm so sorry we're like in COVID time. Okay, well, let's go back and rewind and pretend we're in a happier place before quarantine. What was it like when you first got into school for dance?
It was so long ago now. It feels like years ago.
Doesn't it though?
Literally. Like, okay, well, walking in on my first day, brand new student, didn't know where I was going. I was just so amazed by like how nice everybody at the dance department was at the dance center. I was lost because, okay, listen, there's three levels to the dance center. Studios 1, 2, 3 are on the bottom floor. 4, 5, 6 are on the top floor, and 7 is in the middle floor.
Why?
See, I don't know. And I got lost. I was like, hi, can you tell me where Studio 3 is? And even the person I asked was like, ooh. He was like, ooh, I think it's on the first floor, all the way at the end. And I was like, thank you. I'm just gonna go run around. It's fine. But the professors I had were amazing. Even during quarantine, they were so like, not only were they like continuing classes and stuff, but they were also being the support that we all needed during those times. Like the beginning of quarantine was so scary. I like didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, I still don't know what's going to happen. But it was like something so new that everybody was just like, don't worry about this or that. Like focus on like your health, being with your family, being safe, being healthy, And then we got to dance. Like we still got to dance, and I think a lot of us, at least my peers, we still clung to like classes because it was like some sense of routine, some normalcy that we can always go back to, and not just like lay around and just think about how the world is in a pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you guys had that, and that's awesome that you felt that support.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm glad. Yeah, because it's a school. I can't even imagine. Like you hear all the stories of like teachers just trying to figure out Zoom. And it's not even just like technology figure out Zoom. It's just like, like working with administration and being like, what are you making? Like what precedents are you setting? Because I know I had one teacher friend who she had to make Zoom meeting classes every day, and none of the students were you did not have to show up to class though. So they made her work every day, but they didn't make it mandatory for anyone to show up. So it's like, guess what happened? No one showed up. But that's how she had to go on for a month. Like even knowing like no one was there. And I'm like, that's messed up. That's like a waste of a lot of things.
It is.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I also think about how like in the beginning the plan was to come back like 2 weeks later. And then that date just kept being pushed back and then pushed back. And then at one point they were like, all right, everything shut down. And then they were like, all these freshmen, you have to move back home. And then I had a freshman friend, and she was like, I always think about this because like it's just, she lives in, or her family's from San Francisco. And I was like, you gotta move her all the way back up there after coming down all the way here, you know? And I think about her a lot. I miss her. But it's just it's crazy to think that like these freshmen were so already accustomed because they came in the fall. They like became accustomed to being at school all the time. And then you have to uproot all of that and move back home. Like, I feel like that sucks. Even now that I'm moving back to San Diego, mainly because I don't want to pay rent anymore. But
what's the
fact that I have to, the fact that I have to uproot again and then move back is kind of just like I wish I didn't. Like, I wish the circumstances were different, you know?
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah. No one saw this coming. No one saw coronavirus. Well, some people did, and we were not warned. That's really
some people did, and we handled it poorly.
Worst.
Poorly.
Hands down, we're the worst. So
literally, it's our cases.
Yep. And everyone else is gone. Woo. And we're like, no. Yeah. Higher and higher. Okay, so well, I'm glad at least, you know, like the beginning of it was really nice. It was really crappy that you have to come back, even though like there's a little part of me is like, you're just coming back, even though I mean it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be like this anyway, so I don't really know what the difference is.
But I'll be in the same like I'll be in the same county.
Yeah, we'll all just feel each other's energy and be like, yay, you're closer, but don't touch me or come close to me.
Yeah.
Yay, but no. So I remember a couple weeks ago you were telling us about how, because you go to CSU Long Beach, how you guys had a town hall that was like in response to Black Lives Matter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I don't remember the date, but it was probably a couple weeks after the movement started back up again, or started getting more like fire, more fuel. And basically the meeting, it was a department-wide meeting. So all the faculty and staff were there. Student-wise, it was mainly upperclassmen transfers, not a lot of freshmen, sophomores, which was kind of disappointing because like those are the people who are coming into the world. Like they're still going to be dealing with this shit. But basically, obviously we addressed everything that was going on. The teachers made it a point to like let this be a space where we had the floor. They didn't really talk much. They let it open for anyone to speak, and they would just receive feedback from the students. There was a lot of I don't want to say negativity, but there was a lot of just like heavy thoughts, heavy criticisms from the students to the professors. And because I literally was only there for half of a semester, I didn't really get to meet and learn about all the professors. But then hearing students' past experience, and these are like students who have graduated already. Like some of them came to our meeting and was just like calling out the internal racism, the systemic racism within the department, and just calling it out. I don't even want to say attacking, but it was kind of like attacking, and it just picking everything apart, which I think especially now is important to happen. Like any little thing, no matter how small it is, it's still racist, you know? It's still discriminatory. It doesn't diminish the the fact that it is what it is, you know. From that town hall meeting, it was like, I don't know, it was heavy, but you also got to hear the stories and the voices of the people who don't usually get heard, or who don't always get their stories listened to. And I don't know, I feel like there was definitely a sense of bonding as well, because you just hear stories of people hurting and people wanting more from the department, wanting their professors, the people who are in places of power, to be better, you know, to do better, to make the change that they literally have the power to do. And that's also like the power that we don't have as students. Like, how much can we do? And then how much can our leaders do? Much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a beneficial meeting. And then we had like a second meeting about mental wellness. And I think there's a third meeting coming up. We'll see how it goes.
How did you feel like with with people sharing their stories? Like, I guess, like, because it's strange, right? Because it's really weird, because I feel like, looking back a couple months ago, like, everyone like knows, like, there's a lot of like horrible things going on in all of our systems, like, it's like but you don't know, because like, it depends on like what becomes public, what people want to share. And it's really easy, like in schools or any, like, and any sort of hierarchy. So like, this applies to like schools or like companies and stuff like that. You always know that there's stuff going on, but like, how did it feel to actually like know, because I know you didn't go to college being like, what racist things am I going to find out about the faculty? Like, you're like, I'm going to school. Yay. Like,
yeah. It was very surprising. Yeah, mostly it was surprising just to hear some of the actions from some of the faculty. And I don't, like I said, I don't know them as well as I would want to. But my first impression of almost all the faculty have been positive. And then hearing those stories, I was just like, I don't want to judge you off stories, but like, how can I not hear these stories? But after that meeting, when we had the mental wellness, I can see there is like initiative to be better.
oh, that's good.
I don't know how to say it, because like I I want to see that there's progress, but then also I'm like, but you did do all these things, like, it's like a positive and negative, like, and I can't say anything about it until there is change.
Yeah.
Or not,
Yeah.
But I do believe that there will be. And especially because after the first meeting, we started an affinity group, which I told you about, but I'll say it again.
They don't know what I
know. So we started an affinity group, which like represents all minorities within the department. So we're obviously we have the POC Black community being represented within that group, and then we have mental and physical disabilities, LGBTQ plus, and then just the general like student population. We want to be like that overarching umbrella that is there for students to voice their concerns, find places for support. We also have like student ambassadors that we're planning to have go out to low income communities to reach out to high school students to come to our school and like be a part of a community that maybe they weren't always around, being in a low income, area. And also we have like transfer outreach groups where I am starting like a mentorship too for incoming students and like older students. And then we have a alumni outreach thing going on. This is all in progress, but I mean, the ideas that we have coming up, I feel like is really going to help bring together the dance department and just people in general, you know.
That's awesome, and that's a lot of work. So yay, you guys!
I know. Let's awesome. Go us.
Yeah, no, seriously, go
I'm
you.
So excited
because you know a lot of the response for people is just like basically like fuck it, you know, like screw everything, cancel everything. And I mean, I do understand the sentiment, like I do get it, but it's just like, you know, but there's also other choices. You know, you can do it like you guys did, make an affinity group, because it's like even though things need to change, you know, like you guys, like the system needs to change, but you guys are having your own things in place too to make sure that change does happen. And that's really awesome, especially like the outreach and bringing people in to see what a college is really like and stuff, because you're right. There's like, you know, there's that barrier. There's that like barrier like that a lot of like low income families face, where it's just like, you know, it's scary being like the first one to go to college. And what does that even mean? Like, what does that concept mean? Like, it can be so abstract. And so like, that's really great that you're doing that and you're trying to connect, because it's a cool step into like the world, you know, like, and like the possibilities that you can have. Like, that's really nice. That's really nice. It's really sweet of you guys.
Yeah.
Keep going. That's great. Like, it's just really, it's just really, I feel like a lot, or at least for me, and I know some other people, like, you know, like kind of reflecting like on the future and what things are going to be for like younger people. You know, and we have this great opportunity now because everything's burning for different reasons. And so there's a lot of restarting that needs to happen anyways. And so it's like, why not make it better for them? You know, like we have such
and these are the people who are and these are the people who are gonna like, I mean, at this point we're like in our parents' positions where they were supposed to create a world where that would be better for us, but now we're like, okay, well, it's shitty now. So, and I feel like our momentum is a little stronger, you know, and I feel like now is the time to like just make the change. And if you have a voice and a platform, why not? Like, what's stopping you?
Yes, Aisha.
I just get angry, you know. Sometimes I'm just like, why? Like, what side of history do you want to be a part of? You know?
Yeah.
Do you want to be in the history books? Like, you know, have you seen that picture of the Black man sitting alone at a diner table with all these white people surrounding them?
No.
I forget his name, but he's alive. Like these people, it's okay, but you can picture it, right?
Yes.
Okay, these people are still alive. It happened in like the I don't want to say it. I don't want to say a time that I'm not sure of. But anyway,
it happened way back when.
Yes, way back when. But there's pictures. But you don't want to be in that picture where you're the fucking racist surrounding the Black man. Like, do you want that, or do you want to be the person who is like in the streets on social media saying, "Don't be a fucking racist"?
It's so interesting, and I feel like you said, like you have this feeling that like our movement, or like the movement now, is a little more powerful. And I do feel like some of that definitely comes from like the fact that we have social media, that like, you know, people can say you don't have to be the news. You know, you can, there's so many outlets where you can, you know, like you could do a Facebook Live, you can do a YouTube, you can be on Instagram. Like there's so many ways to put your message out there. That it's also easier to find each other, you know, find the people who also believe in what you believe. And so it connects us. Like, it's super cool because, like, you know, social media sometimes sucks. That's real, you know, it comes with its own repercussions, but it's really awesome for like mobilizing movements, you know, like
Mhm.
there's those things where it's like, stay posted and we're going to tell you where we're going to meet for this caravan, for this
Yeah.
protest and stuff like that. And that's awesome. Like, that's an amazing part of social media. And the part where it's just like, you know, you can't lie. Like, social media, like, everyone's recording how the protests really go. You know, people can't just be like, oh, there is no police brutality, because it's like a million people have it on their phones and have been streaming it live, you know?
Yeah.
So like, it's easier to, like, you know, like you said, like, you don't want to judge off of people's stories and stuff like that, but you're just like, look, I can see it, and more people are saying it too. Like that, like, I can't just excuse that. Like, something is happening here. So like, I you know, I agree with you. It's such a powerful time to be able to say, you know, what needs to be said. Because it's so available. It's so available. And, you know, like, more people are coming out and speaking out about things publicly. And I think that's super necessary. And you think it's necessary too. Like, we just did, for all you at home, like, we just like released a video to San Diego Dance Theater. They had a public letter and we gave them public feedback. So do you want to tell us a little bit about like your choice? Like, because we all, you know, we talked about it, like, do we want to go public or not? And just like how you feel about, you know, addressing it basically in our own institutions, not just San Diego Dance Theater, but like in our dance community, like you said, like also like in your college.
Yeah. When that in the reason why we went public was because it's like accountability, and honestly, I don't care what people, or like how people view what I'm saying, because I know what we said was like not in the wrong. Maybe there was some flaws, maybe there were things that could be better like articulated, but at the end of the day, I know that we're all fighting the same fight, you know. We're all on the same side. The way we went about it maybe not have pleased some people, but I don't, like, are you mad because I said it out loud? Instead of, you know, are you mad that I said it, or are you mad at what I said? Anywho, but I do think it is important to, I don't even want to say call out, but it bring attention to the things that we experience and the things that are happening within our community, because this is a community that we want to be a part of and want to be represented, and like, we all care, like we care a lot, and that's why we made that video, and we want to see the best come out at the end of this. Like, we want the best for everyone. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. We just, you know, you just care, and so you just want things to happen that's beneficial for everybody, not just for the people who are privileged enough to not have to worry about repercussions.
Yeah. And it's become like a really, like you said, right? Like, where do you want to come out? Like, when history like has been written and stuff like that, because like this is a very unique time where like things are really rough, but it's also a really good opportunity to just redo things, look at what we've all been doing, you know, like when we've had talks like within our group, and like a lot of people just like have talks, like when I talk to people and when they come on this live show, of a lot of like self-reflection. You know, like, everyone's changing. Everyone's looking at their own anti-Blackness. Everyone is looking how they've upheld white supremacy, like in our own local communities to our country. Like, and I think for some people, like, they just don't want to face that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just like the guilt is too much, so they don't want to face it. But it's just like, but if we don't, that's how we keep going like this. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
and then it's just gonna happen again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like when, like, when was like Black Lives Matters was also really big like 2 years ago, right? I want to say 2 years ago or something like that. And then it just like, you know, people obviously stayed on it, but like in terms of like a whole in our society, it kind of like fizzled away. And like,
yeah.
And there's so much that has happened in these past like couple years since like the first time. And I, you know, like I didn't really get it until this time. Like I can say that. Yeah, it was just like Black Lives Matter, but I also didn't reach the point until this time being like, oh, I'm doing stuff too that's not helpful. Like there are a lot of things I'm doing that are not helpful. And I feel like that's a big thing with now. I feel like a lot of people, because of quarantine, you just have a lot of time to reflect. Yeah. Like and think about it and how all these pieces like fit together. Which is like a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the curse is that you reflect on all the negative things, but the blessings is like you can acknowledge that you were not who the person you are now. And now you're a different person. And now you can make the change if you want to, and you should, but if you want to. But like for me, I feel like as long as you recognize that like there were mistakes in the past that you made, and you know that you can change it and that you know that you're changed now, I feel like that's step one. Also, going off of that, my dad saw our video. I hope he's not watching because I'm gonna call him out. But oh my god, if he's watching, sorry, Daddy. But he watched our video and he like praised us. He was really proud of us. But then he was like, you know, to be all inclusive, to include everybody, you should say all lives matter. And I was like, sir. I was like, one moment, let me sit down. Hold on. And then I just like explained to him, and I know my dad is very open-minded. He's like one of the smartest people I know. And he has given me a lot of perspective on the world, and I can understand where he's coming from saying like all lives matter, because they do, we all do. And I had to tell him like in this moment, you being a Black man is like predetermined that you will have more negativity come to you just because you're a Black man. And that's why we say Black Lives Matter, you know? And he was like, I stand corrected. And that was what I needed to hear. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for understanding. Now you understand why like all lives do matter, but like in this moment, not all lives are treated equally.
Yeah.
And that's why we can't really say all lives matter. It's like hypocrisy.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know why people are taking like Black Lives Matter, like, because it's supposed to be like a focus in, not an exclusion. Like, because no one's saying Black Lives Matter most or Black Lives Matter only. It's basically like Black Lives Matter as well, like too.
Yeah.
Like that. And so that, oh man. Well, I'm glad your father listened because
yeah, when I first saw that, it was all in an email. First off, I was like, why are you writing me an email? You can call me. But it was in an email. So I like screenshot it. I was like, to my brother, I was like, Ash, look at this. Ash, please. I was like, I need to read this man to Phil because this is not what I need to hear from him. I knew it was from a place of love. I knew that he was like, I knew what he meant. And I know the man that he is would understand why that's not the correct term right now. Maybe eventually in the future, in the way distant future, we will be saying all lives matter, maybe when everything is equal. But like in this moment in time, no.
It's a pretty hard no.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
Hard negative on that one.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you're like your father understands, and see, like that's the thing. Like sometimes you need to call people out or call people in. Like, there's different ways, but like, you know, like if you hadn't said anything, then your dad would have kept believing and not understanding. And I think that's what's happening, you know, like I feel like for a long time, like a lot of minorities, a lot of minorities in whatever way you're a minority, we just didn't speak up because that sucked. You know, like speaking up comes with consequences, comes with being fired.
Yeah,
It
you
comes
spoke up and then you were quieted.
Yeah, like no one's gonna listen to you. You're gonna be like, you know, like stereotyped, you know, like dragon lady or angry black woman. Like, you know, like there's so many like horrible things that people have called minorities just to shut them up, you know, and to marginalize them and demonize them and make them feel like what they say is not real. And like this is the time though, like we're just like, oh, like everyone's speaking up, like, and that's so powerful because it is kind of like one of those things where it's just like we all have to understand, like we're all trying to like be like, come on y'all, like we all have to like agree that like this is what's happening, you know, like police brutality is bad and they keep just killing black people. Like they're like,
you know what, oh, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But like when people say police brutality, suddenly they're like, no, but police aren't, they're doing their job. Like, but like if you remove police and then just say brutality, are you still going to defend brutality? Like,
it's true. Like, what, brutality is okay? Because that's a good point. Just because like they're the police, like why is the police nullifying the word brutality like that? So you're not taking it seriously. And it's just like, dude, this stuff is happening and it's crazy. Aisha, I watched this really depressing documentary over the weekend. And it's on PBS. It's called The Kids We Lose. And it's about the school to prison pipeline. Because that's something that I've been wanting to learn more about. Because I know that's like a big thing. But I wasn't really aware of it until like basically after George Floyd's death. Because that's one of the things that like, you know, was brought up. And I'm like, I don't know enough about this. So I watched this really depressing like documentary. And it just shows like teachers into like staff into like police just like manhandling children, like straight up manhandling children, like, and it's the worst. And you're just like, how is this okay? Like for a cop to come and like throw a student out of her chair and bang her against the wall and then like shove her down on the floor and then, you know, like forcefully handcuff her. I mean, it's just like, that's a child, you know, like, yeah, it's a teenager. That's still a child. Like, what is happening? Like, and it's crazy. It's insane.
Have you seen the Stanford prison experiment?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain to it for people who don't know? So that we're not just being like, yeah. You know it. If you don't know it, too bad.
You're gonna have to watch the documentary, or it's not even a documentary. It's like a. It's not really a documentary because like they have actors, right?
Yeah, it's like a retelling. It's like based on a true story kind of stuff, but like this is literally like, you know, there's a few dramatics, but like the experiment happened. Like the experiment really happened.
And it was at what school was it at?
Stanford.
Harvard? Yale? Stanford. Oh, I'm dumb.
Stanford. You're not dumb.
Oh my god, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Stanford.
Tell the people what they.
I don't think I'm qualified anymore.
Aisha, you're fine. Ready? Take a breath and explain. I'm gonna make you do it because you're fine. Because you're doing well. You're doing well.
Okay. So basically, it was an experiment where they took students to play police officers and then students to play prisoners. And basically the whole of this story is that the students portraying police became more violent towards the prisoners, and the prisoners became more submissive. And then they took on these roles so heavily that some of the prisoners developed PTSD, and some of them were like, I only knew myself as a number. Like, you know, some people were like heavily affected by this. It was just an experiment to see how power dynamics played out. And the people who took the positions as police officers were like overly brutal, overly like taking on what they would imagine prison police officers or whatever would be.
And it
was hard to watch.
It is hard to watch because, you know, like the whole thing was that like it was an experiment about psychology and behavior, like human behavior. And like, I know, like knowing about that experience and just like, you know, like knowing people, there's so many psychological experiences where like, experiments where people end up doing like really messed up things, or they think they're okay with doing really messed up things to people if an authority figure is telling them to do so, you know. Because there's that one, I can't remember what it's called, but there's that other experiment where it's basically like there's supposed to be someone in the other room and you're here and you're in control of these buttons and you're going to shock the person on the other side. That experiment, and then the person's telling you to do it, like the person's like, press that button, and like, you know, like nothing happens, and then they can hear the other person screaming. They're not really shocking anyone, they just think that they are. They're being told that they're actually shocking someone, you know, and like people will keep going even if they don't want to because the experimenter is telling them to, and they're not like holding a gun to their head or anything, they're just like, do it, you know, and they'll keep pressing the button. Even if they feel horrified or even if they feel like it's wrong, like they still do it. And I'm like, that says something too. Like, you know, like that's scary. And when you apply those things, you know, like those thoughts, you know, the possibility of that to like the police, like knowing that, like, it's really scary. Like having that sort of power is a lot of power. Like, it's a lot of power over people's lives.
Yeah. I mean, I even get like scared if I see a police car, if I see lights, you know, like if it's down the road and I see lights, then I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
And that's just like what is it? Like, I don't know. It's like such an internal thing to me now that whenever I see lights, I'm like, okay, you gotta drive slower, you know. Make sure my windows are up.
Yeah. And that sucks. That's like a boo.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And these like police are supposed to be protecting us, but then why am I afraid? Like they're like a big gang. I'm sorry. But they're like a gang. Maybe even worse than a gang. Because I grew up in Skyline. Like I wasn't afraid. But like I'll see cops and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that should say something. See, that should say something. We have a little more time again. See, you only have 10 more minutes, and that go by fast.
Yeah,
I told you. They go by fast. I just kind of wanted to ask you. You know, I know like you're going to be at home and stuff, but you are still a student. I don't know how it's going to work out for your school. But with everything with Black Lives Matter happening, does that shift on how you, oh my gosh, my words. Does that change nope. I'm sorry, the sentence might not make sense. Does that change how you look at your education, at your dance education with everything that has happened? You know, does that affect how you view your education at Long Beach? Yes, that's all I needed to say. Sorry that took out too long.
It's okay. I thought the Stanford prison experiment was at Yale. It's okay. You know, we have lapses sometimes. It's fine. It's fine. We got it. We got there. That's what matters. We got there. I think if anything, I'll be just a little more sensitive to like the way things are said, the way things are taught, you know? I can't really say if anything will change because my experience was so short still, you know? I feel like I don't have enough backing to, I don't know. Like I don't really have enough experience within the department to say that like I'm gonna do this differently or I'm gonna see my professors differently, you know? But I think I will be a little more sensitive. There was one instance during the meeting that town hall meeting where one of the professors called me by the wrong name. Like there was another girl in the department whose name was spelled the same way as mine, Aisha, but she pronounced it Asia. And so this professor called me Asia. And I was like, my name's Aisha. Not all Black people pronounce their names the same. And I will keep correcting you because this is my name. This is who I identify as. I'm Aisha. And I feel like that's one thing that people with non-white names, I don't know how to say it, like, you know what I mean? Just like names that aren't like
easy.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. People who have like Black names, they're so accustomed to being like, oh yeah, that's not how you pronounce it, but it's fine. Like moving on. But it's like, no, that's your name. Like that's who you are. You need to correct these people. You don't need to brush it aside or like go to Starbucks and give them a different name because it's easier to pronounce. Like, no, you're gonna take the time. You're gonna learn how to spell my name and you're gonna learn how to say it.
Yeah, that's such an important thing. Like, because you do, right? Like you just like, I know my name is hard and you just like brush it off, but it's just like that's not that means no one will ever know how to say your name. And that's not helpful. It's just not helpful.
It's just erasing like parts of who you are.
Yeah.
Just to be like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not okay. You can try. You can try a little harder.
Oh, I have a question.
If you can say supercalifragilistic,
right? You can say Aisha. You can say Aisha. Oh, hello. Sorry, I was about to spill my drink. I have a question for you.
Yes.
What was there any discussion? Because I think we were. I can't remember if you were in that meeting or not, but we were talking about that one article, I guess, released by Seattle Dances about like, you know, talking about things where there's so much Eurocentricness in dance. And I was wondering if that came up in your town hall meeting.
I wasn't there for that meeting talking about the Seattle company and talking about that, but it did come up in our town meeting, mainly with like jazz, tap, hip hop, because those are like so like Black rooted in Black culture. But like you go to universities and you look around and you look at all these companies and they focus on modern and ballet, which I understand are like fundamentals. But when you go to a university and you want to be all inclusive, how come you're not including hip hop? You know, and hip hop is like the manifestation of the Black culture. It makes me angry. But it's like, yeah, like why is this not part of your core? And why aren't you teaching like the grooves, the hip hop, the breakdancing? Why aren't you teaching? Why is jazz and tap only electives? Why is it only an option? Like, why don't you make that part of the core? And I know at Long Beach we're actually we actually do have like hip hop becoming part of the core, so you have to take it, which I'm like. But then also, I'm like, are you going to teach a history class on it or not? Are you going to focus on the Black, or are you going to focus on ballet history that everybody knows about? Like at this point, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about ballet history.
Which is
and
also
history.
because like it's crazy, especially because ballet history is European history and hip hop is literally American history. Hip hop is American history. Like straight up. Like straight up. Like it's American history.
Like like it was born on American soil. But you're gonna condense it into like a 2-week course.
Yeah. And I've been thinking about the whole like ballet as a fundamental and stuff like that a lot. And just like realizing, because you know, like that's what people always say, like you need to take ballet. Ballet is like the foundation for everything. And I'm like, that's not true though. And realizing that that's not true, but like realizing my years of saying it was true because this is just what I was told, you know, and you just like trust your professors and you trust your teachers. And I'm like looking back and you're like, that's not necessarily true. You know, like all the rhythmic stuff, like it's not, which is really funny now that I think about it, you know, but like really like all the rhythmic stuff, like tap, jazz, hip hop and stuff like that, like rhythm is such an important skill, you know, and like counting is an important skill. But you know, like that, like a lot of people don't care anymore. And in my experience, like to be completely honest, even though, you know, like rhythm and timing is supposed to be important in ballet, I'm just like, I feel like it's like put to the side. And the same like with modern and stuff too sometimes, where it's like rhythm wasn't that important. You know, it's like more about line. It's more about like really a European aesthetic. So it's just like, you know, like, like you're just like, oh, it isn't the base of everything. Like there's a whole other basis for everything. And just also think about like folk dance, you know, like a lot of people's like traditional dances and stuff like that is no way derived from ballet, you know, like it's not, it's literally like derived from the earth, like, and what people saw. So
literally
so interesting. Oh God, we only have 2 minutes. Okay, so Aisha, I'm gonna ask you one last question here, and it's gonna be a wrap-up question, I guess, and I need to think of a wrap-up question for you. Okay. What do you hope, like as a dancer and a student, like what do you hope for in, I guess, in your dance community, whether that means to like San Diego because you're technically coming back for a little bit, or just like at your school, or just like the dance community at large? What do you hope? What changes do you hope to see?
Well,
3. 1 to 3 things.
Changes.
Yeah. 1 to 3.
Okay.
Oh, you can name them all. You can name them all, but we don't. Yeah, like 1 to 3. Just
I feel like one of the biggest things for me is that looking at companies, like companies that I love, companies that I want to, I mean, ideally be a part of, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But like seeing companies that call themselves diverse and seeing like one Black person and then one Asian person, like I wish that wasn't it. Like that's not diverse, you know. That's, you have like the token Black person and the token Asian person. Like I wish that these big name companies would like reach out to the communities that are low income, because that's mainly the minorities, you know. Those are the people who don't get the chance to go out and audition for companies across the sea, or even go to an audition that costs $50, you know. Like I wish there were companies, institutions, studios that went out into low income communities to bring up undiscovered talent that don't always have the opportunity to go out and dance, go out and pay for classes, and give these people like the opportunity to to be the artists that they know they are inside.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also something that like me going on into like my professional world, like being a professor or choreographer, like I think that's something that I want to do also. Just reach out and because like that's where I came from too. Like I don't have all the money in the world. I'm not a white ballerina. I had to work for where I am now. And I would just want to make it easier for people because it's hard.
It is really hard. And growing up dancing is really expensive. Like,
yeah,
it's expensive. Yeah, that's beautiful, Aisha. Thank you. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. And thank you for coming on. I really appreciate that, like, on here, and I have loved hearing everything you had to say. And I loved getting to know you more, so that was cool too.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I know it took a lot for you to convince me.
Oh yeah, I did. I told Aisha, I'm like, I will accept it if you, what did I say? I was like, if this is not something you would like ever do or whatever, that's fine. But if you're just doing it because you're like scared that you won't say the perfect thing, then you're gonna do it. Like, that's not a good enough reason. Because you were cool, because like, you know, you are very passionate, you know, like we were in our meetings, and like also just you as a person, like before this and stuff, like you have things to say. You always have, you know, you're just more used to putting it in your art. But you've always had things to say. You've always had opinions, you know, that's always been you. So I appreciate you coming out here, because this is new for you. I really do hope you keep doing stuff like this though, because again, like you have a lot to say, and you have a lot to say to help like the future, the youths, you know, the youth, you know,
the youth,
you know, and I think like you're a great role model. So I hope in some way you just keep doing more stuff like this, because it's really important to have voices like yours. And so that people can continue.
Thank you for creating a platform also.
Thank you. Yeah. It was a really easy shift. It was just like, yeah, let's do it, guys. So yeah, thank you. I will, where can people find you? I also put your Instagram down there.
Oh.
I don't know if you have a website though.
No. I mean, no, I should eventually, maybe. But I mean, Instagram's the best. I did start a dance Instagram, but that's like on private, no name, nobody. I don't even follow it. It's like there's nothing there yet. Like it'll like there will something will come about, but like just it doesn't exist right now.
Okay.
I just have that. I just saved that.
So stay tuned.
But yeah.
Stay tuned for
stay tuned.
Dance Instagram.
Yeah. But follow me on this Instagram at the bottom.
Instagram. So follow her there. If you guys want to join our conversation tomorrow, I'm going to have Rich Benares on, and we're going to talk about the state of colorism. He's part of this series of addressing anti-Blackness in our own culture. He's Filipino. Aisha's half Filipino. Filipino! So that's tomorrow. Again, Aisha, thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you have a great rest of your night, which I am going to be a part of.
Yeah. I'll see you in 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.